What's the difference between ACEs and childhood trauma? Let's take a look. ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. ACEs are stressful events that happen during childhood.
These stressful events could be things like domestic violence, emotional neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, or any event that causes household dysfunction. All of these events and others would be classed as adverse childhood experiences.
We have another video on the different types of adverse childhood experience. If you want to know more about them, I'll pop a link to that video at the end of this video.
These events can have an adverse effect on young people, making them adverse childhood experiences.
It's the resulting effect on the young person that's the childhood trauma. Different from the event itself, the trauma comes as a result of the event.
The effect of adverse childhood experiences can be profound, with children's emotional and behavioural well-being being impacted, as well as their development. The effect of the adverse childhood experience is therefore often referred to as trauma impact or childhood trauma.
So what's the difference between ACEs and childhood trauma? ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, are the events that can cause childhood trauma. They're very different because the ACE is the event itself and the childhood trauma comes from that event. They're interlinked but two separate things. Here's one final trauma-informed care top tip. The term childhood trauma is often used when describing adverse childhood experiences, but actually the childhood trauma comes from those adverse childhood experiences. It's important to remember that any adverse childhood experience can cause childhood trauma, and they are two different things. The terminology we use is less important than our understanding that childhood trauma comes from adverse childhood experiences. For more information on childhood trauma and trauma-informed care, subscribe to Tribe, Trauma-Informed Care in Practice.